comfortable. Let's get comfortable. Okay. Aloha, everybody. I'm AK Mantis, and I'm beaming into you from the big island of Hawaii. Currently, it's storming. I'm supposed to be at the high school STEM lab working on the robotics competition robot with my high school class. Well, I'm a mentor for the high school robotics class. But as you can see, it's rainy and stormy, and the governor has decided to close the schools for today. So I had all these big plans of making all this content, all the content that I've been rattling around in my mind for the last few months since I've been in Ascension. And, I got up and I was like, I'm going to make the backdrop look like this, and I'm going to, brush my hair and put on a nice outfit. And then I just decided that I was going to feed the dog, and I was going to make some coffee, and I don't wear makeup anyway, so I don't have any makeup. And as you can probably tell by this situation, I just moved into this Ohana unit. So I don't really know where all my clothes are yet. So this is what I look like, for reals, right when I wake up. I haven't even brushed my hair. I just splashed some water on my face. I put my talisman ring on. I put my bracelet on for purification. And now I'm here. So why am I here? That's the question. I am here because I wanted to ramble on about my ascension and practice speaking fluidly and eloquently about my ascension process and my story. There's a few things I want to cover first before I get into the story of Odin gifting me his the soul spark for his two wolves, Frecky and Gary. The first thing I want to say is back in November, on my spiritual birthday, I recorded the first shamanic journey with me sessions at the rim of the Holly Mau Mau crater. And there were a couple of things in that video that weren't correct. The first thing that wasn't correct, which my math students will find hilarious, is I calculated the number of my spiritual birthdays incorrectly. It's actually been 9 years since I first woke up spiritually. My math students definitely will get a chuckle out of that. I'm always telling them to, make sure I do my addition and subtraction correctly. The second thing I wanted to note was that Hank, my spiritual mentor, he doesn't like me calling him my mentor because one of the first things he said to me was, "You are your own guide. The age of the guru is over. It's all about direct revelation, finding out who you are and why you've come to this planet." Just checking to make sure the audio is still recording. So yeah, those are the two things right off the bat from that shamanic journey session number 1. The change of content video is up. I did have all these ideas about how I was going to continue Hank's work and do a series of guided shamanic journeys for everybody. But now I've decided that I'm just going to condense all that information into like a table that someone that's interested in doing a series of shamanic journey work to go into their spirit side and find out more about themselves and find out more about the other world and the other dimensions. They can just do that on their own, and they'll have a guide, like coordinates as to where they should take the journey to. And of course, I will have all those journeys protected, and yeah, so that's coming. I don't know when. I'm incredibly busy. I've been going through Ascension. I just came out of hermit mode on the first full moon of the Chinese New Year. So it was also a total lunar eclipse. So that was on March 3rd, 3-3 portal. I finally am feeling like I'm more grounded and rooted and healed, and I'm able to come onto this platform and share my experiences with you. Another thing I wanted to mention about the first session recording that I did, the first video I did, was that in that video I talked a lot about how a shamanist or a shaman, the title shaman is given to a practitioner of shamanism by the community, that a practitioner would never call themselves a shaman or tell somebody, hey, I'm a shaman, would you like, they would never solicit themselves like that. It's a term of respect and endearment that the community bestows upon the shamanist or the practitioner that's doing the shamanic duties for the community. And my journey led me to this really cool content creator called Old Boy. It's spelled AULDBOY. I guess with the accent, that is old boy. I think it's a term of endearment for a father figure. I'm not 100%, but it's a modern man who has learned ancient Greek and lives in Northwest England, or is from Northwest England, and he has a lot of really cool content on archaeological digs. The way I found him was right in between the winter solstice and the New Year, the 365-day New Year. I figured out, or I remembered, I had the remembering of who I am, who or what my oversoul is, where I come from. And the first thing that my oversoul told me was to look into Tyrian purple. So I was looking into Tyrian purple, and I got all the myths and the mythology, and looking into it deeper on YouTube, I found Old Boy, and he has a fantastic series on, or a playlist on Tyrian purple, or purple, and where it comes from, and the Phoenicians, and how they're not really Phoenicians, and it really goes with the theme of modern day history. We're rewriting history in a more factual, more real sense. So everything we know about history has been either, there's been things omitted, or has not been complete. And as we move into the fifth dimension, or we move towards a higher vibration globally, we will start to realize lots of different things. And one of those will be that history is, at the very least, incomplete. So I was going through his channel, and that brings me back to my first session and saying that a shaman never calls himself a shaman. Well, it turns out, I learned from Old Boy that the word for, the ancient Greek word for a seer or a diviner is mantis. And I was guided to call myself, or give myself the host name AK Mantis, by the divine. And I thought that was because I took A and K. Those are the first two initials of my Hawaiian name. And I had been studying Kung Fu with a Mantis boxer, and I had come into contact with Mantis Being Collective, and I was working with them heavily. I still am working. I'm the host for them, their physical host on this planet. And so that's why I thought that I was given the name AK Mantis. As it turns out, I named myself a shaman on accident. But then when I asked the divine said actually the Mantis beings the collective of Mantis beings bestowed that name on me. So I didn't technically name myself, but I am calling myself a seer, diviner, shaman, but it was totally by accident. So that's just one of those things. The divine has a wicked, wicked sense of humor. Cracks me up all the time, on a daily basis, essentially. So that brings me to my ascension process from my spiritual birthday back in November all the way till I came out of hermit mode this last full moon on the 3rd of March. I've been going through heavy ascension symptoms since last March when I became single. I broke up with, I fled a situation that was dangerous, a romantic situationship that became really dangerous and toxic, and I just left my house. I up and left my house of 9 years that I raised my children in, and I basically just became a homeless gypsy traveling beach bum, which is awesome. I was really enjoying my single life, and I started working with chthonic beings a little bit more than I had been, and spirits of the crossroads, like Papa Legba, of course Hecate or Hecate. You say potato, I say potato. And I was drawn to this YouTube channel called 144 from the Stars. Ian from 144 from the Stars, the host, he has been very helpful in my ascension process, giving me hints as to who I was. He kind of breadcrumbed me to figure out, what my oversoul is, why I'm on this planet. The special gifts, the spiritual gifts that were coming in for me, he gave me lots of clues to those and like how I might access those. And my first Christian name is Renee, like the root of Renaissance. It means to be reborn, right? Just like with the Mantis name, Renee, all names are very, very important. Renee encapsulates who I am as a person from the very beginning of my life. I basically have a lot of Phoenix energy, and I always have. And so part of transforming is the decomposing and the death process, right? You have to go through that process to come into the rebirth process. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow. It just depends on where you're at and what the situation is. And in my particular situation, things were going really slow. I was in a lot of pain and I had a lot to process. I wasn't just processing that relationship. I was processing like all of my traumas, doing all of my shadow work. Anything that triggered me, I was going inside and I was figuring out what was happening, why I was being triggered. All these memories started coming back. The Mantis beings gifted me a lot of memories from childhood so that I could start sifting through those and transmuting those and spiritually alchemizing those and learning how to create my reality and my destiny instead of being at the mercy of the fates. So as I started getting more and more spiritual gifts, I was watching Ian from 144 from the Stars Tarot one day, and he hinted that there were people in the collective that were going to get pets. Well, although I love animals, the divine made it so that I was allergic to all animals. My immune system was destroyed. My microbiome was destroyed when I was a kid because of all the medications that I was put on. So I was unable to be around cats, dogs, anything with fur. I could be around horses, but they have more hair, and it's not like you're snuggling up to them like you would a cat or a dog. So, that was my entire life. I was never able to be around animals. And that forced me to be more around people, because if I was able to just be with animals, I would have been. I would be that cat lady with, 30 cats and 20 dogs, and, I'd have no friends and no family. And that would have been perfectly ideal and fine for me. But, so yeah, I had allergies my entire life. I never had a pet. I always wanted a puppy. And Ian starts hinting that people in the collective are going to be gifted pets. And other readers start, channeling through, like, you're gonna have more contact with nature. Animals are going to be able to interact with you. You're going to be able to understand what animals are saying and seeing and doing. And at the time, I'm working with Hecate, and she's got, the black dog thing going on, and I'm working with Odin, and he's got the two wolves situation going on, and I have Irish Welsh heritage and German heritage, and I know a lot about Norse mythology. I even named my children Norse names. My youngest son is named after Thor. My daughter is named after, her name is multidimensional. It could be a Greek name, it could be a Hawaiian name, it could be a name from the Rhine River in Germany. It could be a Celtic name. And then my oldest son is named after a famous Viking. So Norse mythology is not new to me. And so I've been working with some of these Norse gods for quite a while, but recently, more recently, Odin, the supposed All-Father, although I don't know, there's a thing there. Sorry, Odin, but he's chuckling. I'm working with Odin, I'm working with Hecate, I'm working with all these crossroad beings, I'm working with, chthonic beings of the underworld, like going through all my shadow stuff, figuring out my special superpowers, which has to do with light and dark and the balancing of the two. And all these people are saying you're going to get special powers, you're going to get a pet, all these things are happening. And I was like, yeah, the pet thing's not for me, but yeah, I'm getting all these special superpowers. And then when I was at my friend's house on New Year's, I realized I wasn't allergic to her cat. Like, I could be in her house and not be bothered by her cat. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Maybe my DNA has evolved, or I've healed myself enough because I'm an acupuncturist. I've been an acupuncturist for 6 years or 7 years, and maybe I just got to the point where I'm balanced and I don't have allergies anymore. And then I had a dream that I had a black puppy, and I thought that was Hecate just guiding me in one way or another. And when I got back to work, to my high school teaching job, I was talking to a coworker, and she said, hey, I got a puppy for Christmas. I was like, what? I was like, are there more puppies? Is there a black puppy? And she said, maybe, let me find out. And it turns out that the puppy that she got came from a litter of these hunting dogs, And this band of hunters that had these hunting dogs, they were not the best people, not the most responsible people. They injured the mom. The puppies were starving. So we decided, hey, we got to rescue the rest of these puppies. So we rescue this litter of puppies. They've all got worms and parasites and they're sick. But there's two. There's the black puppy that's a runt. And then there's this white female puppy, the only female that we rescued. And she is protecting the runt from all the other dogs. Like the runt wouldn't have even been able to eat and survive as long as he did if it wasn't for this white female puppy. So I was like, that's it. I'm fostering the runt and I'm fostering his sister. They're inseparable. We're not going to separate them. And I already had a good idea in my mind before I even saw the puppies that, you know, there's going to be a black one and a white one. They're going to be total opposites. The white one was going to be a female. The black one was going to be a male. And they're going to be twins, just like Odin's wolves. I already had the vision in my mind. And when I got to my friend's house and the litter of puppies was there to take care of, I just knew they were going to be there. And they were there. And lo and behold, I'm not allergic. And so I took them, and yeah, it's been a long journey. The little runt, Freki, he was weak from the beginning. He was very, very skinny and frail. His kidneys weren't functioning when we rescued him, and so he ended up passing away on Chinese New Year's, you know, the beginning of Ramadan and like all the things, right? The Mardi Gras or whatever the big festival is in New Orleans. Yeah, so he passed on and he is now in spirit in the other world with Hecate, and you know, she's laughing and she's thanking Odin, and I'm laughing and thanking Odin. And we do a lot of work together. Whenever I'm asleep, basically, we work together. And sometimes when I'm awake so far, we've had some times together. But, you know, I'm telling you this story. I'm rambling on and on about this story because this is what life is like when you're a shamanist, when you're walking the path of the shaman. You do a lot of your work in the other world. And the other world is, you know, the physical 3D world has two halves, you know, just like the yin yang, just like the, you know, the magical twins. It's like the world of things seen and the physical waking world, and the world, the half of things non-seen, the other world, the non-waking world. And those two things make up ordinary reality, the 3D reality. They can't be separated. Now, from there's other dimensions, but most of the work that we do as shamanists are in the other world because there's recently departed souls there, there's nature spirits there in the other world, and a lot of times beings from other dimensions come into the other world and speak to me. So I have a special place called a sacred garden that I go to. I meet with a lot of these other beings from other dimensions. And yeah, so this is what it's like to be a shamanist. You know, you just follow the path, you work. Mostly, a lot of my spiritual work is in the other world. And you might be asking yourself, like, what good does it do to have one dog here and one dog in the other world? Like, how does that even like translate to something, you know, practical? And I'm glad you asked, and I'm glad you're thinking that, because, you know, I could think of several scenarios where this is very, very useful. Let's just say that I want to train Gary, my female dog here. I want to train her, but I don't want her to be a hunting dog because I don't want to perpetuate that culture anymore. but I teach her how to be one of those search and rescue dogs for natural disasters, right? So Gary and I, we go to a natural disaster, we're finding people that are lost in a mudslide or a snowstorm or like a crumbled building, and then in those scenarios, of course, there are going to be departed souls, right? And that's where Freki would come in. He would be with us. He is with us. Even now, he's with us. He would be with us, and he would be leading the departed souls from the earth plane into the other world. And this is pretty much what Odin's wolves would do on the battlefield. They would lead the fallen warriors to Valhalla. And it's a very real thing. And I can't get over the amazing, brilliance of this whole situation, because the Freki, who the little boy, he was the most joyful, amazing, charismatic dog in the whole world. Everyone loved him. Even when he passed away in my arms, he was wagging his tail. He was trying to wag his tail till the very end. He was just full of joy and happiness. And I can't think of a better guide for a recently departed soul that might be confused, especially if one got into an accident or, they departed suddenly. They could be really confused. I can't think of a better guide to guide them to the other world than this cute little black puppy. I would definitely follow that puppy in any situation, and it would bring me comfort and joy. And so that is just one scenario off the top of my mind that would happen being a shamanist, working with the other world so closely, and still having one foot one foot firmly planted here in the physical reality as well. The body of the shaman makes the bridge. 1 foot here, 1 foot there. Information goes back and forth, back and forth and back. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for listening to my rambling. I will probably make a few shorts just to cover some of this information, but so you don't have to listen to the entire thing, because I know that our attention spans these days are pretty short, and we like instant gratification, and I get that. And I'm all about making these little short moments of short videos of joy and fun, but also give imagery that is significant and infused with, the most amazing high vibrational energy I can possibly get into these little shorts. And I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble. And I will check y'all out soon. What else? Anything else before I turn off the camera? Yes. The Grid Keepers Collective, gathering practitioners, mainly musicians, mainly healing arts practitioners. We are going to start our energetic grid work in England, the countryside of England, during the autumn equinox this year. So I'm turning that collective into a non-denominational, non-profit spiritual organization. You'll be able to donate. People will be able to donate to that channel, and it will be, or not channel, to that organization, and it will be tax deductible. And it will just be all donations to that Grid Keepers Collective will be used for our travel. I have my Native American roots. We all have big families. We all want to dance and sing and drum and use that vibration to plug into the grid of the planet at very specific power locations around the world. And so, yes, we're starting in England. I have a very good friend there. We're joining forces, and yeah, hopefully we see a lot of you there, either physically in the 3D or, you know, non-physically, or we'll probably find some way to stream, you know, certain events, certain parts of the situation that we're going to be doing there. But it looks like it's shaping up to be like a very Woodstock, very music festival, very ceremonious, joyful gathering of souls. So I'm excited for that. And if you have anything you want to ask me, or if you have any comments, you can leave positive comments here on YouTube, or you can email me. My email is in the description box for this channel, Shamanic Understanding, and there's another email in the Grid Keepers Collective channel. But I think if you search AK Mantis, you will find all the channels. I think you'll find Wayfinder, MIA, Missing Ascension, Shamanic Understanding, and the Grid Keepers Collective. But I don't know. If not, then I'm sure we will cross paths if we're meant to in another way. Take care, everybody. Peace.